You want to talk about dish, you want to talk political nows, you want to talk about ability, you have Isabel Oakeshott. How are you?
Oh, you're such a flatterer.
I missed you.
Are you... Did I hear a rumour that you're off on your holidays? Can this be true?
I am going to off on holidays, yes.
You're working on your tan.
No, I didn't... yes, I'm going on holiday.
Why are you sounding a little bit defensive?
Because I keep being approached by people saying, are you going in the jungle?
Oh, I think you'd... What do you think in the jungle? Do you think you'd fare well? Is eat or be eaten in the jungle?
Great.
What would you do?
I don't know. Get hypnotherapy, probably. 0344 20 cigarettes in a room somewhere. 0344 499 1000. Text to 87222. Isabel, you and I think along the same lines. So where do you want to start with? Do you want to start with a funny one or a serious one?
Funny one, please. Always a funny one. Because then if we
Not saying hello to a colleague, my darling, could break employment laws. The tribunal has suggested the ruling came in the case of a recruitment manager who won an unfair dismissal because the managing director for 3 mornings didn't say hello. He apparently was hacked off because he thought she was permanently at the doctor's or she was skiving and she wasn't. If you don't say hello because it'll cause somebody to feel quite anxious, you could be in trouble and lose your job. What are we getting to? Do
you think if you don't say hello you're not being sufficiently inclusive because you're not including the person in your morning? I
don't even know what inclusive means because I read, we did Plank of the Week, and this is a genuine story. You can see it on Friday at 7 o'clock. Building society in Nottingham called the Nottingham Building Society that has been going for years.
Oh yeah, we've done this story. Yeah.
Have you done it? And there's the advert, people with hats, and it's all about They've dropped Robin Hood because Robin Hood wasn't inclusive. Now, what does that mean? He raided the rich for the poor. Apparently, it wasn't diverse enough, so he didn't give out to different groups of poor people, homeless people or people from Romania. I mean, honestly.
I think inclusive is definitely overrated. I think exclusive is a good thing.
Yes.
You know, I mean, companies have spent ages boasting about how their things are exclusive. How come we've got to go full circle and it's now inclusive?
The world's gone nuts.
Having none of that.
Will you feel... Do you get easily offended in terms if somebody doesn't say hello or if somebody says something? Do you get upset?
I am so uneasily offended. It takes a lot to offend me. I'm just not bothered.
I just couldn't know. But do you think we're built... It's really interesting talking to Blexley about this earlier.
People aren't tough enough.
No, but no. Are they not tough enough, or has this nanny state and this world become so entrenched in wanting to find fault or find a problem or find something wherever they look that we're all too scared to fart without getting... I mean, honestly, to go to the toilet in this building you need 13 emails. You can't even say brainstorming, by the way, I got told off today.
Why not?
Because neurologically...
Because some people don't have a brain.
No, well, I think that possibly is it, but some people neurologically, if they've got problems... I'm not even making... Am I right or wrong? That civil servants have banned the word brainstorming in Whitehall because people who have brain injuries or problems with their brains... A storm is...
I'm amazed it's called Whitehall. Shouldn't it be called Mixed Hall or, I don't know, Diverse Colours Hall?
Diverse Colours Hall. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Rainbow Hall?
Don't start. So we have got to a point... I was talking to Blexley about this earlier, where seemingly everything is an issue in this country. You say people need to be firmer. I think we need, as a society, to be firmer. I think we need to be firmer. I mean, look at that story today. 120,000 crimes committed, to talk exclusive, by foreign criminals last year. That's just the ones we caught.
I know, because I've actually been through a lot of this exercise myself through freedom of information requests, and a lot of the forces just don't want to give
4 out of 43 said nothing, and 39 did. But is it true,
the other thing that they won't tell you is what proportion that is of all the crimes committed in their area, because they don't want you to be able to say, oh, look at this, it's a 10, you know, what it should be is about a 10th, but, you know, if it's 40%, 50%, they don't want us to know that. And a lot of them just make excuses and don't give you the information.
It's really interesting as well. I wanted to get your view on this as our international editor, because I think for many years people would talk about immigration and they'd be deemed racist or very, you know, xenophobic, whatever it was. And I think what's happened now is... And I was interested today about the EU announcing that they quite would like the idea to send migrants to deportation camps outside Europe.
I wonder who had that idea, yeah.
So Rwanda was scrapped day one by Sakir, and I wasn't a fan of Rwanda. I think there's a better deterrent, which is make it less soft. But anyway, he wants to cosy up to Europe, and now Europe suddenly... And actually, politically, if you look at Europe, they're moving to the right because they're listening to their voters, right?
Well, look, it comes to a point, doesn't it, where what has happened is so extreme that people just are not prepared to put up with it anymore. And, you know, when you are letting people in, I think we had Robert Jenrick today, obviously trying very hard to become the next Tory leader, saying that on his watch, something like 1,000 criminals came in pretending to be asylum seekers, and that's just the ones we know about.
Yeah, pretending to be asylum seekers. What about the ones last week we were talking about pretending to be children? 48-year-old men pretending to be children.
I know quite a lot about that one. Yeah, that's an extraordinary one, because what happens is if they pretend to be children, then they're entitled to bring their relatives over. And here's this. How do you establish what age someone is? Well, normally you can...
Well, what, have you got 2 eyes in your head? I can tell if somebody's 7.
Completely, but of course that's not how it works with the lawyers and the human rights and all of that. They're supposed to have a DNA test. Apparently some of them refuse to have a DNA test.
I don't want to get involved in a discussion about DNA.
You're just going to get you really... Silence descends as I absorb what you mean by that. And
I spent my life doing DNA tests. I'm not going to get involved in that debate.
I think you are getting more and more of a candidate for the jungle by the minute.
Yeah, I bet you do. On a serious note, though, a lot of people are starting, I think, to wake up to the fact that whereas you could talk about those things, perhaps not as much as you can now in the past, now I think people are going, hold on a minute, we.
Yeah.
The length and breadth of this country are doing everything right. We're paying our taxes, not breaking the law, bringing our kids up, going to work, and actually we're being screwed. We're being screwed by a government and a country that seems to prefer everybody else. Let's take a call if you're all right. Dennis is in Surrey. I'm here with Isabel. Dennis, you're on Talk Drive. What you got, pal?
Hi. I've got a lot. I just one of those people that are fed up with all that's happening. Sorry.
Let me introduce Dennis. Dennis texted, and I wanted to get him on. This is brilliant. You texted me, Dennis, and you said that you were a migrant who came to this country, but you are appalled at what's happening with illegal migrants. Tell me more, my friend.
Yeah, as legal migrants, as the way we would like to put it, I know what it means to value a place you moved to, as opposed to where you're coming from and having to pay the high visa fees, paying 3,000 plus just to get ILR, paying for your kids, paying the health surcharge, paying taxes and NI and everything, and you don't your ILR, your visa says you don't have any recourse to public funds, which means you pay for everything yourself. You don't get 15 free. Dennis,
slow down for me, my friend, because the line's not great. You came to this country as a migrant. You work, you support your family. What do you think? And a lot of people get really offended if we say this, but I'm interested in your opinion. Do you believe that there are migrants from all over Europe who are taking advantage of the United Kingdom?
Not just from all over Europe, from all over the world. The truth is this, here in the UK, you keep saying that you're helping, how should I put it, people that are running away from oppression or wars. If you want to help those people, you know where they are at the refugee camps. Go there, you see them, women and children, you help them. But when someone crosses from France all the way and jumps into the Atlantic Ocean on an inflatable and comes to the UK, they are not in any form of danger. They've already gotten to a safe place. Why do they still pay thousands of pounds to cross into the UK? The real refugees, if they have £5,000, they are not going to pay gangs.
That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's right, Isabel. Thank you, Dennis. Go on.
Completely. Well, I was saying that Dennis is the kind of person that we should all welcome into our country. You know, it sounds as if he's making a contribution.
Self-pride.
He feels happy, and he is bluntly, he's grateful, right? I think what
that's a really interesting word. That's great.
Really rankles with people is that so many of those coming over are not remotely grateful.
I'm going to go further, actually. My father-in-law said it, and I've never actually thought about saying it. I know Rob's listening, my good mate Rob Armstrong. This is really important for me. Grateful's one word, but I feel like we're in a situation where people come to this country and there should be gratitude, there should be integration, there should be giving something back. Let's talk about the Jewish community, right? What happens is people come to this country, they are fervently taking advantage, they are not in the slightest bit interested in our culture, they are not interested in they seem to want to bring everything that they wanted to leave to this country and knock this country whilst taking advantage of this country, and that's not put very well. That's what annoys me.
Basically, it's insulting to everybody here when people behave like that. And we saw the most extreme example of that in the last 48 hours with this illegal migrant that was threatening to murder Nigel Farage. And he was basically saying, you Englishman, this and that, and I'm coming to get you. And you're kind of like, hang on a minute, you know, what on earth do you think you're doing, saying those things, threatening one of our politicians from a position of you being an illegal migrant with a gun tattoo on your forehead? I'm glad he's got that tattoo, by the way, because it's kind of distinctive and quite recognisable.
It's really interesting, and you're absolutely right in what you say about Dennis. And Dennis, thank you. Another line wasn't great. Somebody like Dennis will say to you, I'm very grateful to have come to England. Did you hear what he said? He pays tax, he pays NI, he supports his family, and he feels that we've become, he said, which I love, we've become too woke and we're too scared of making decisions correctly.
And that's an important word there, we, which is to do with how keen are you to actually integrate? You know, have you come here to be part of our country and to make a positive contribution, or have you just come to get as much as you can out of it? And, you know, there was a huge wave of positive migration from Poland, for example, which, you know, I know so many amazing Polish people that came over in that first wave.
Our makeup girls are the hardest working makeup girls. I've been in this business a long time. They're incredible, Martha and Magdalena, are amazing. Those people made such a contribution, and it's a shame that so many of them left, thinking that Brexit was in some way, you know, anti-them, which it wasn't at all. It's really interesting. Just very quickly, we've talked about the Rwanda style camps. More small boats under Labour than before Labour got in. That's an interesting one, isn't it?
I mean, do you know what they'll say about that? Oh, it's just the weather. Yeah, no, we were just unlucky enough to get the summer months, you know, and so on.
Where are you on assisted dying?
I think it's really difficult. I don't know. I'm kind of...
Benedict Spence didn't change my mind today.
I don't want to say in favour, because...
No, well, Benedict Spence said something to me today, which was really interesting, actually. He and Julia had a shouting match. Try and catch it on Catch It. It was amazing. She, like me, would go, it is absolutely ludicrous. They put animals down, and I told the story earlier to a priest about it was on the show about my mum, and I tell you categorically, if she'd written it in her will, which she should have done, she never spoke. But thank God after 3 months she died, because she was nothing, mate. She was dribbling and wearing a nappy. I'm telling you the truth, right? She wouldn't want to be. But Benedict said something that you will agree with. He went, no, I don't disagree with the concept. But are you really going to put that responsibility in the hands of politicians and governments that make such a goddamn mess of not only the NHS, but our country as a whole? And that's a really salient point as well, isn't it?
It is a really salient point. I think I'm leaning towards it, but I hate the idea of the whole machinery of it. And you know, as you say, you know, you can rely on our politicians to do one thing, which is to screw things up. I have
a very good friend who's not well, and he will go to Dignitas.
And it's horrible to think that people have to do that.
He doesn't want to sit and patently, it's not even be a burden. I mean, my mother had no life. She was wearing a nappy, for Christ's sake, and being fed by a tube.
Yeah, exactly. Where's
the dignified lady?
Where's the quality of that? And it's agony for families, all of that. And I'm not saying that...
But people might take advantage if it was across... You're right, it's a difficult one, isn't it?
It is difficult, but I think where we've got people who are able to do so are actually leaving the country with a one-way plane ticket to die, then that tells you that we need to have our own alternative to that.
Completely agree. The amazing Isabel Oakeshott, I guess you're with Kev now, are you?
I am with Kev.
See, why did you say that with a smile? Why does he get a smile?
Because you just gave me that look. You gave me that look.
It's jealous. Jealous look. Isabel's with Kevin. They're coming up after the news at 7.